In the year 2022, there was a movie that I watched that really caught my attention. And it never got a lot of hype online. Some people reviewed it and then it kind of just disappeared from the pop culture zeitgeist. And this movie really got my attention because, well, it had no dialogue. I mean, apart from the introduction where a narrator tells you what the setting of the movie is, and the ending where the main character says like 6 words. For a whole hour and 20 minutes, there is no talking in this movie. It's just stuff happening on screen. This movie is about to have a sequel, and I'm referring to none other than Sisu. Sisu is a film that was dropped on 2022, and it's going to have a sequel in 2025 November. For those of you who don't know what Sisu is all about, it's a historical action thriller film. It's from Finland, and it is directed by Jalmari Helander, and it is set during the Lapland War between Finland and Nazi Germany, towards the end of World War II, where a legendary Finnish Army commando-turned-gold prospector attempts to defend himself from being robbed and murdered by a Waffen-SS platoon led by an infamously brutal and corrupt officer. I'm going to do a breakdown of the first 10 minutes of this film. The opening narration tells us where he is and that he is done with the war, but it doesn't tell us what he has moved on to. And that's what I liked about the opening narration. It tells us the current situation politically between countries, and it tells us that one man has decided to leave the war behind. But it doesn't tell us he has left the war behind and he has decided to become a farmer or something like that. No, instead it zooms in and decides to show us that our hero now has stopped being in the war and is now has moved on to gold prospecting. And that's what I liked. It showed us. You just see him with the gold prospecting pan thing, and he goes to wash out the dirt, and you see him with some specks of gold. And the only time he actually makes a noise, apart from the ending of the film where he talks, is in this scene, where he like screams in celebration. Well, that's a surprising bit of reaction. I would have expected him, I don't know, to laugh, but instead he yells just at the speck of seeing gold. I'm assuming it's because that reaction is meant to tell us that he feels that his efforts were not in vain, that he feels probably that people said maybe that he was nuts, that if you look around him right now, there's nothing, it's a barren wasteland. But maybe people told him, well, you won't find anything out there, but haha, jokes on them because he actually found something. The film cuts to a puppy. It shows us a puppy, and this obviously tells us that he is probably very single. He's probably very single. I mean, the guy is quite elderly and he's probably a lover of animals, but it probably also indicates that he is a carer of small things, like a nurturer or like a caretaker. He likes to take care of those who are small and weak. Probably that's why the movie cuts to the puppy. Then they cut to this chapter 1 card on screen. This automatically reminds me of Quentin Tarantino. For those of you fans of Quentin Tarantino, I'm sure you're familiar with the film Inglourious Bastards, which I have actually reacted to on this channel, and also the movie The Hateful Eight. I like thinking of these two films whenever I think about Quentin Tarantino because these two films have scenes where characters just sit and talk. And Quentin Tarantino is one of the few directors that I know who can create really good cinema just from people sitting and talking. So I find it very funny that this film uses a Quentin Tarantino style of showing chapter 1. I found that to be kind of interesting. You see a hanging line with some clothes. On his hanging line, there is no female clothes or there is no boy clothes or girl clothes, which goes to show you that he probably has no wife at the moment and he has no child. So there's a river. So I assumed that probably he had just come from washing them and then hanging them there. But the fact that the camera bothers to show you this is to further emphasize that he is alone. He's not with anyone. You also see a horse, which is probably indicates a means of transport, indicating that that's how he got there to the middle of nowhere, and probably that's the same horse that he used while he was in war. The film then cuts to show you dirty nails. I like the fact that they cut to this specific angle of his nails They didn't show it from far, they showed it very up close to show you that he's probably been at this for a long time, which probably also indicates why he reacted the way he reacted with the scream, to indicate that he's been going at it with the gold prospecting for long and he's not about to give up because of all the effort he has put in. And then suddenly some planes fly over. And the funny thing here is that he doesn't react to the planes flying over. He is indifferent to the planes flying over, which is in contrast to the fact that when he discovered the speck of dust, he screamed. So obviously, he does have the capability to react. But when the planes fly over, he doesn't even. He's completely unfazed. And this is to indicate that in the intro, the narrator said that this man has moved on from the war.
In the wilderness of Lapland, there is a man who has decided to leave the war behind him.
And just as I said, this movie is great at showing you. It doesn't just want to tell you, it wants to show you. So his indifference clearly shows that he's completely done with the war. He's not even nostalgic or reminiscing of the good old days. No, he's completely done with it. They show you his wedding ring on his left hand, which probably indicates that he was married, but they show you this while he is looking at explosions in the distance. That's what I like. They showed you the wedding ring, and then they show you him looking at the explosion, which probably indicates that he lost a loved one, or he lost his wife, or he lost even maybe his family during the war. Finally strikes rich, finally gets to see a huge chunk of gold in the ground. But the funny thing is, he doesn't hear. He just simply goes silent and he's just dumbfounded. And I'm assuming the reason he reacts like this is either because he has been used to being in a long state of poverty, or he has become hypervigilant. Sure, he may scream because of finding a speck of gold, but once he strikes it rich, he doesn't want anyone else to know. He wants to keep it to himself and he wants to be very silent about it. In fact, in a previous scene, while he was digging, he was being very hypervigilant. He sticks up, he looks around to check if anyone is around him. So it's a very huge contrast between when he hasn't found the gold, he's looking around and he's very hypervigilant. But when he finally finds it, he doesn't even look around to see if anyone is watching him. He stays very silent. And I think it's mainly because either one, he's so happy that he finally gets to escape poverty, or two, he doesn't want anyone else to know and he wants to keep the gold securely with himself. He's afraid that maybe if he yells, someone who is nearby watching might come to him. In the next scene, he takes a bath and you can see the scars from being in war. By the way, we are 8 minutes into the film and there's no dialogue. The movie shows you that he has some serious wounds from battle, which either indicate either A, maybe he was a prisoner of war, or B, he has been in a lot of close-up combat and survived a lot of knife fights. And now he gets onto his horse and he rides off. And while he's riding off, the movie shows you the barren wasteland that he's in. And the irony is that in this barren wasteland, he has struck it rich. You're seeing the contrast here. In this place where it is hopeless, he has found riches. And I believe that this is the first form of Sisu. In the opening intro, they tell you that Sisu is a Finnish word. It cannot be translated. And Sisu appears whenever all hope is lost. You see, in this barren wasteland where there was no hope, he found the biggest hope of him escaping poverty. And I think that's what this movie, it's absolutely great at how it tells its story. The movie even shows you an animal corpse to show you how helpless, how hopeless and lifeless the place is. And that right there is the end of chapter 1. 10 minutes of no dialogue, but so much has been said. Sisu 2 is going to be released on November 21st, 2025. Definitely planning to watch it, definitely planning to review it. I thought the first one was really good. I have not seen a film where there is no dialogue. I know probably there's an animation out there, or there's a 50s film or Charlie Chaplin film out there with no dialogue, but a modern day movie made in 2022 with no dialogue, that just absolutely blew my mind. And I thought that I should discuss this film.